is Thrive and Shine. I'm Tatiana Gidiez. I'm a power strategist for high achiever women. And of course, as you're starting to get to know this show, we have this incredible platform for authentic leadership and the most amazing leaders in this world who actually do lead with also a great deal of consciousness. And so today, I have the honor, the privilege, and the immense joy to introduce one of my favorite people who has been part of my personal life and business life for at least the past 10 years. Her name is Lisa Dawn LaJoie. She is an intuitive for business owners. She is a psychic and a medium as well, because we have resorted to those amazing powers together in our past. So without any delay, this is the gorgeous Lisa. Hi.
Hello.
Yay. I am so excited to have you because let's put a little bit of context around this. This is the culmination of an amazing path we have had together, and it's not over. But it's been quite a journey, and Lisa has been an instrumental part of my journey. She is my first spiritual teacher. When I first consulted with you at least 10 years ago, I had no idea about my own spirituality. I had no idea about spirituality in general. I was so clued out and so unaware. And you've taught me so much about life, about spirituality, about my own power, my own ability to connect, my own intuition. And Lisa, you've been like an instrument. I mean, seriously, you have been such an amazing, amazing power in my life, with my children, with the men in my life. I mean, you've assisted me on every level. Am I right?
Yes.
It's okay. You can speak to that effect. I am completely transparent, and I am welcoming. I'm welcoming whatever comes through at this moment with you, because we want to show people how a journey is about rising. And it's not, I don't think that we wake up and are aware that we have such power and spirituality and such connection, right? I think it's a process that we need to even learn about ourselves, about listening to it. I know for me, you've seen me at my very worst, and you've seen me at my very best, and it will continue. So Lisa, tell me a little bit about you and how you got to be more aware of your gifts and your and whatever lies within you, these amazing powers that you have. Yeah. She is at times really, I must say, you're kick-ass too. Like, if you're the type of person that if you're not ready to, if you're consulting with Lisa and you're not ready to hear the radical truth and authentic, honest feedback that you are looking to hear, she will kick your ass. And she's kicked mine several times. Go ahead.
But this is the first thing that's the most important, is what a celebration we have to be doing this together and to see where we are, both of us now compared to when we first met, And first of all, I'm honored to be here, of course. Like, this is just a celebration for me to see you doing this, to be, I've known you for so long. And one of my favorite things about you is your ability to share with people from that authentic place, from that truth, always being willing to find the truth, even though it's difficult and might hurt, might be painful. You're one of my most favorite, people, friends, colleagues, and clients, because you are just like, wow, that really hurt, but that felt right. What can I do to change, transform, build myself even more? So, just being so open and willing and able to understand the different energy dynamics that really exist, the different vibrational things that we can tune into as people. Like it's incredible because that's why you are where you are,
It's
So I'm so
commitment.
honored to be here to play with you. That's exciting,
Yes,
right? Totally
yes,
exciting.
yes.
Yeah. Um, let me talk a little bit about where I come from just to help people understand. So everybody has like an innate ability that lives inside of them. And we all have intuition. We all have empathic ability. How I describe myself is just I have a heightened sense of it. When I was super young, it started. I feel that I was born this way, and I could see and tune into things beyond what other people were seeing from this like third plane dimension, let's say, where everything has different matter, and you could see it has contrast, it has all kinds of you know colors and smells and textures, and I seem to be able to tune in beyond that and to see other things that were going on around people and in the world. So that's how it all started, and it terrified me, to be honest, because as there sometimes there comes a negativity with the richness as well, with the goodness and the incredible potential people have. Sometimes the shadows, dark experiences, painful things that they need to go through. For me,
how long did you actually have to keep it under wrap, and and how did you even notice that what you were knowing was instrumental yet not known by others? Because I remember the very beginning of me embracing my intuition, my connectedness. I just thought it was something that whatever I would know, I thought it was known by everyone else. And so it was right. So how did you realize? What did anything happen that made you aware that you knew more than the common denominator?
That's a great question. So I used to see things that no one else could seem to see. And I would point them out, and my family would just look at me like, what are you talking about? I gave my father predictions on business when I was a little kid. I'm like, yeah, you should do that. And then 5 years later, that's exactly what somebody else was doing because he thought I was crazy for even bringing it up.
Okay.
So I just kind of knew something was peculiar, and that I was seeing other things and nobody else was seeing them but me. And I felt really awkward and uncomfortable. A little bit about my history. I went through a really difficult childhood, and it distracted me from understanding what the gift was, because I could feel and sense things about people and why they were doing what they were doing. And I just didn't know what to do with it. My mind was too small. I did not have a rational ability to understand the difference between my energy and somebody else's energy. So I just said, I can't take this. And eventually when I got older, a woman, my mother knew that I had a gift. She figured it out, and she actually saw a Vedic astrologer, and the Vedic astrologer, God bless her, when I was like very young, she's the one, and thank God for my mother, because she got into metaphysics, and it's a brilliant thing she did, because I wouldn't be where I am today if she didn't do that. It would have been much worse for me. So the woman saw in my actual astrological chart, which is very, very powerful tool as well, which I use at times. And she said, this girl has a very, very heightened sense of what's going on. And she could see people from the other side. She could see the different levels of dimension. And, my mother was like, oh.
Yeah. How old
She
were you?
brought me to the woman, and she helped me understand it. But I was too young still to comprehend. So when I got older, I realized, I had a spiritual awakening at 23, long story short, right? And my gift had been quiet, not dormant, but quiet. And what happened is it came right back full force. And I just felt like the creator was pulling on me, and my soul was pulling on me to say, this is who you are, and you need to do something with it. And that's how the journey started, more or less, for me.
And I think that is really what awakened people have in common, is that calling to say yes, because if you don't, you no longer can function in the way that you have up until that point. And whatever that point is, however that comes to you, whether it is, you know, through an accident, many have accidents and are facing death. Others just feel like I did, that I no longer could live in that way, so I went even deeper. But my start with you was a very slow, gradual start. It wasn't my, you know, true wake-up call. It was more like, well, it was a wake-up call because I was involved in some pretty...
Well, do you remember our story, how it started?
Yes.
Right?
Go ahead. How did it start?
Okay, so if I remember the story correctly, because it's long ago, somebody told you to come see me.
Right.
Because your father had come into a session I was in with them.
Actually, that's
correct, or was it the reverse?
It's the reverse. I came to see you. I came to see you from someone's recommendation, definitely.
Yes.
I was in a very troubled, intimate relationship at the time, intimate meaning with a man. And I was experiencing things with that man I had never experienced. And, you know, there was some abuse there. There was some things that I just was not ever been exposed to, and I just didn't know how to deal with this. And so that's how we started. And then my girlfriend's father, along with mine,
your father came in. That's right.
To play with us, and you told me, and I was like a little skeptical at that point. I wasn't so into you or this whole thing. I did believe in it, but I wasn't. You know, I didn't really want to give my trust to just anyone.
For sure.
And all of a sudden, you told me things about my father and my girlfriend's father. But you told me things about my father nobody could know. Like, I did not know you. I had never spoken about my father.
That's what it was. Yes, I remember now. Yeah.
Right? Right. And so that's how it started. And you educated me a lot about, not about, you know, this father of mine, but more about how to listen to my voice within, how to really listen to my own intuition that I was totally, oh my God, when I look back, I was so not listening to. So I want to know, though, I want to go back to you and how, can you talk about how this awakening took place when you were 23?
Yeah, sure. I was basically pretty much I was a full-blown alcoholic, and I was in a lot of trouble for the course of my life, like my childhood up till teenage years, and then I exploded in complete rebellion. And the way I describe it is my spirit, my soul, who I am deep at the core, kept telling me so much more. In moments, the destruction of myself, because I learned to feel like I had no value from what I went through as a kid, between, you know, violence, abuse, sexual abuse, neglect from my parents. I mean, there was a lot going on. And I learned to dislike who I was and stop trusting my own voice and my own core. And the thing is, my soul, the way I describe it is my soul and creator basically seduced me into seeing my true light. Because even in my most darkest moments, something from inside me would rise and just say, this is not your life. So from stopping my brother from beating me up, to dealing with the molester, stopping him myself, to realizing that I was really killing myself through alcoholism and drugs and whatever else I was doing to cope, I recognized there was something so much greater than me telling me that who I truly was versus who I thought I was. And I would shine the light through my intuitive ability on who I could be versus who I was becoming. And this truth, the intuition, for me, intuition is the portal that the creator and your soul and your higher consciousness can communicate to you, to all of us. And it was like a relentless pursuit. My soul wouldn't let me go. My soul was just like, listen, I picked you. We belong together and you're doing this. This is not who you are. And it was so powerful and strong. And these miracles happened for a very long time before the day that I actually had the awakening, where, I had gone through a bunch of really horrible, like basically really bad situations. And, it was so crazy. I got it one day and I just knew, and I phoned actually Alcoholics Anonymous. I phoned Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't know it had been seated because my grandfather was an alcoholic. My grandmother, she was my favorite person in the world. And one thing that they do in Alcoholics Anonymous, this is 30 years ago now, okay? So one thing they do is they say the serenity prayer at the beginning. And I had this prayer, I probably still have it in my office, that my grandfather had from when he was going to help himself. And so I called and they convinced me to come in, and they made me understand that I had a problem that was bigger than me. And I really needed help. So I went to this, it was crazy. I went to this meeting, and meetings are really weird if you've never been to one. But they're unbelievably powerful when one person who has the same problem as you talks to you about the solution. There's an absolute beyond comprehension connection that happens from these kinds of moments. And so I was sitting there, and they opened this meeting up, and I'm already feeling awkward, weird, and strange. And the serenity prayer gets said out loud by everybody there. And my grandmother comes right, I can't even talk about it. It touches me so much. She stood behind me and just put her hands on my shoulders and said, "This is where you belong. You have to save your life." And that was the beginning of my awakening, where I realized the destruction of what I was doing was learned behavior. It had nothing to do with who I was as a human being and who I was in my light and my soul. And that was the beginning for me. And from there, obviously I had to learn to change and all these beautiful components of spiritual growth. But these moments of incredible grace, and people don't understand the power of our loved ones on the other side. We think it's woo-woo, but they love us so much and know us so much that they will come and help. Just like your intuition will try to help you. Your friends will get synchronistic moments where they just know you need them, and they'll call you. All these miracles are consistently and constantly happening in our life. And I was very blessed to grab that moment with all my might and be here and be the person that I am today because of it. Without that, I wouldn't be here. There's no doubt for me, if I wasn't able to listen to that grace inside me explode and tell me that I was more, I would not be here today. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. I actually didn't even know that story.
Well, there you go, right?
That's amazing. Yes. And to the power of our loved ones on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
I know you were the first one who reconnected me to my father, who has passed 25 years ago, the age of my second child. And it was so touching. And it still is. Like, whenever I feel him, whenever he comes through someone like you, it's beyond yummy. It's just like, it's such gratitude and grace that I feel. It's amazing.
It's gorgeous. It really is.
He's here with us right now, right?
He is.
He is. He's amazing. I love him.
He
I
totally
miss him. And so then how did you, this is an incredible moment in time where you need to literally let go of learned behavior, learned patterns. And I know for a fact that takes a while, right? And it takes a while to really embrace your full power, your capacity, the potential that you have inside that you only can tap into at that point, a little bit at a time. So how long did it take you before you knew that you wanted to engage fully in serving others with your gifts?
It took me around 3 years, honestly. And I really feel, and I believe that our gifts seduce us. They will chase us with this sweet sense of seduction and show themselves to us in these beautiful synchronistic moments through other people's successes, through whispers in our ears, through feelings in our passion, through, breakdowns, to breakthroughs like mine. And I couldn't stop it, even if I wanted to. The minute I cleaned up my life, the gift was like, it just started like plowing through me again. But I had, healing, I had transformation, I had knowledge. I started to be able to get disciplined around my gift. And what I did is I did a lot of soul searching. Like, was this really going to be meaningful, or could I make it something meaningful and purposeful? I'm definitely, you know me a long time. There's probably not much woo-woo about me. Even though my work is a little bit woo-woo.
That's what I love about you is
right.
There is, especially in I think in LA, there is a big notion of spirituality or some psychic who are very woo-woo, and you are so down to earth and so radically honest, and you will not bullshit around. You are just going to say what you need to say, what you are asked to say, and you do sometimes apply a little bit of diplomacy. Sometimes.
Come on.
But most of the time it's like radically honest, and it's like whack, slap in the face. Okay, all right. I remember some sessions, because we've done sessions with my daughters. One in particular I will not name right now, with whom we had a ton of fun, right? Yes.
We did. You are a pioneer for those girls. You took the battle on, this is the power of truth, and it's the power of spirituality, and it's the power of intuition, is just like reaching into the grunge and saying, who am I? And who do I want to be? And what's going wrong, and how am I implicated in what's going wrong, and what can I do to change it? And when am I going to start to change it? And what am I missing? And how can I improve myself? And, these are truth questions that they completely transform who we are.
Absolutely.
And I went through these incredible moments, right? Like, myself, and I know you've gone through them too, because we've been together when you've gone through those moments of awakening where you really feel the truth on the inside, and you turn it into something meaningful in your actions. And for me to take the gift and say, if I'm going to see things about people that are their secrets, their pain, their possibilities, their potential, I need to help them figure out what to do. So this was my deal. I told the creator, I said, look, I love you. I love you so much. And I've always been a very devoted person, but I'm like, I cannot just give information if it has no meaning. And, I did a lot of meditation, soul searching, and really intuitive investigating. I call it like forensic intuitive investigating, to understand what energy was doing when it was showing itself to me. Like, what did it want to say? Like, why were these premonitions about people so powerful? How could I make them more useful? And I realized that practice, and through clients like yourself and other people who taught me what to do, because you would come and ask me something, and I'd say, okay, let me try. And then I would try whatever I needed to do to help you. And I would learn about a gift that I had under the gift that I didn't know, So the power of trying and exploring yourself and investigating your own personal potential and doing things of service to other people showed me how I can turn this gift into something that would make sense, and people could take guidance from it, because I could see the future possibilities and probabilities, and we could change it all by changing the present moment.
Right.
And when I realized that, I was in. Before that, I told the creator, listen, I just don't see the point in seeing things about people's future and not being able to make impact change. I just don't see any reason to do this. Why would I want to have this gift if I can't impact change? And that's when it completely transformed for me mentally. And I was able to say, now every piece of guidance, what else can I do with it? How else can it serve you? What else can I do to make it a change maker for you personally, or whoever I work with.
And one of the things that I really liked about what you just shared is the part where you literally speak of your own vulnerability in discovering the gift under the gift. And I know for for a fact from my own experience is I use a lot of my intuition and my
Of course.
and my connectedness with my clients, and there are moments where I see things that I just didn't know I would see, or I am gifted with another ability I didn't know I had, and being able to stay open. That's the point, is to remain vulnerable enough to stay open to what more is possible, what else is out there that I can actually do even more of, that will serve the greater good, that will serve not only this client, but the greater good. Because we keep learning as we're doing. And one of my fears in my past was, and you know that, was, well, I need to jump off my cliff only when I feel like I know everything, and I'm deemed by myself and my own standards to start, consulting with these people, even though it was my own insecurity. Even though I had it all within, I could have started earlier, but I was just fearful of my own gifts, and I wasn't as confident. So I think that, whatever our audience can take away from this is really just jump, do it, because it's by doing it that you're going to actually be shown and almost like rewarded even more for actually taking action and just going for it, and not staying in the fear, because as we know, we only have two pools of energy to draw from in this world. It's either fear or love. So just go for love, and it means jump off your cliff and just take action and do it, and you'll be shown even more. You will grow from that. So I love that about you. And so I also have witnessed your journey going from this incredible intuitive psychic medium consultant on a personal level to becoming this kick-ass business consultant. And so you now really focus heavily, I believe, right, on consulting on a business level for your clients through your gifts. And I know I've experienced some of that with you as well in the past couple of years for this business. And so how were you guided, or were you actually asked by your clients? Was it always coming up and so you had no choice but to just go in that direction? How did that happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first of all, I've always loved business anyways. I'm an entrepreneur by nature, right? So my clients, like yourself and a couple of other people years back, were like, I'll just tell you when it actually started. Let me go back. There was a gentleman who, big investment guy. He came to see me. His wife made him come, which happens often. The wife is like, you're going to see her, okay? And then the guy will be there like helpless, and he'll like, okay, come in.
Do I really need to be here?
They're like, why does she see so much about me? Like, stop it.
Yeah.
Right. But this one particular client of mine, he went away from our session, first of all, because I believe in guidance that makes sense, that people can take away and use. So intuitive intelligence is real. Intuitive intel is what I get and use, because I understand the back layers of intuition, which most people just listen to their guidance. I know there's a back end to the guidance. I know there's way more information that is trying to come through about possibilities, because I've been doing this for so long now, and I've done the forensics, research personally to find out what else can I do with that information. Is there more? Is there more? Is there more? Right. And he figured out. He came the next week. A week later, came back. He went, I came with a sheet full of the questions, and he said, if you can tell me all that stuff about my personal life, then you could figure out how to tell me about my business.
Oh, brilliant.
And
man.
He hit me with a list of questions. How can I get, from increasing the business development to, how can I make more money? Where's my position? Where's my personal power in the company? Why are these relationships not working inside of the business platform? How can I get these different divisions of the company to work in synchronistic? And I was like, and I was able to it was crazy. I just saw the entire matrix of it. And I was able to tune into, from tuning into one possibility to tuning into a company, and everything about the company and all the employees and the energy in the company and the foundation of the company. And it was like my brain opened up to the matrix. That's what it was like. And my gift just exploded in my head from him.
Nice.
And so I learned how to do it. I learned how to discipline myself. And because I understand business, I'm able to understand what I'm being shown from a practical point of view. And intuition, and we've talked about this over the course of time, is when you ask deeper questions, you get deeper answers. Mm-hmm. Intuition goes as deep as you want to go. It'll spread. It's like a portal of information. It'll go as far and as wide as you want to research and look. Mm-hmm. So he taught me. You taught me too when you came at different points in your experience, and you challenged me. And you said, "What about this?" And you had those personal frustrations or experiences. You're like, "I need help. I'm going to let this go." And we're like, "No." I'm like, "Don't let it go. It's gonna." We were able to see the path of why people might have been resistant, how you can change your energy to create a more synchronistic outcome for yourself, because shit comes up. Right?
I love that part. Yes. Because it's really setting aside, I remember certain circumstances that I can't talk about in public right now, but where you really helped me understand how to put my feelings aside that were emotions that were running high at the time, and it was within a business context. And you showed me how to really look at the bigger picture and vision of where I want it to be. But while I'm setting aside those emotions, how can I navigate myself within the synchronicity of those people involved and situations involved parallel to what I was experiencing, so I get to my outcome in the best way possible. Which is huge, because it's one thing to just get out and close the door, slam the door, and create this big drama. Is it really going to be in my best interest? No. So, and I remember those moments. They were really, really powerful. So I love that you are doing that now. So I want to get into some really juicy stuff. So for instance, what are people now most requiring from you in terms of information? Do people still come so much about their love life, or is it even more about their business now, or is it both? And
these are great questions. They're great questions. Now, really, my business is split. Okay. So what primarily I'm focusing a lot on developing intuitive intelligence conversations with business people, because, and this is such a very important point for your audience, is women can lose their power in emotion, and they can attain power from clarity at using their intuition. It's a very powerful tool that women are not understanding how to use correctly often, because the emotions get mixed. And so I'm focusing on teaching that empowerment to women in particular, in my coaching a lot, because it's extremely important for that intuitive ability and empathic ability that many, many women have, to be able to turnkey it into practical advice and strategy.
So give us an example of someone who would get carried away with her emotions, or maybe even a man, but it happens more with women because we have high emotions. We have, we have waves of emotions, just like the waves of an ocean, right? That's how we're made. And so it's one thing to use and abuse it. It's another to really use it as leverage for ourselves, our lives, and learn how to own it so that it works for our best interest, right?
Yep. So I'll use an interesting example. So you have, let's say you're in a transaction at work. Okay. Let's say you're a CEO, or the VP of a large company, you're female, and you just know that you just have a feeling about somebody who's coming into the company. Let's say it's a man, and you just have a bad feeling about this person. That you just know inside, like they don't have your best interest at heart, and that something's going on. And this is what often will happen. The woman will have the insight and then get concerned and worried. And they don't know what to do with the insight. They don't know how to research the insight. They get concerned and worried. And the emotions start to get bigger and bigger.
Right.
And bigger. And now I'm concerned and worried. And now they're looking for things that are wrong.
Right.
And they're watching every move the person makes. And that doubt and the fear is getting bigger and bigger. But the intuition they had is something's not right here. Right. And I need to know what it is. And they don't know how to go into, I don't know what it is, but I'm not going to be afraid of it. I'm going to go use that intuitive leverage and find out what it is. Because it doesn't mean it's a threat to me. But what is happening because of this doubt and this fear is now I'm not looking like myself anymore. My energy is changing. People are going to start to notice I'm insecure and afraid. And my energy is changing and I'm more nervous and my confidence is decreasing. I'm losing my power. And what's happening is because we go into the emotion, we're leaning into the wrong energy and we start sending fear. That energy outward and people look at us like, what's wrong with you? You don't look and feel as powerful as you did last week. And there's a demise that happens on the woman's power because she's not sure how to well, I'm going to explore this insight.
So tell us what you would tell her. Give us a little bit of an insight of how you would coach that woman.
So I would coach that woman, first of all, by saying, let's pull away from the emotion and let's play with your insight. So you had a feeling, obviously, because I do this for a living, I would probably take my client and go, let me check. And I would check what the energy exchange is between her and that person and see if there was any emotional cause, if this man was triggering something or just the way, or if it was somebody else triggering something, the scenario, the secrecy, who is he? He's not talking enough, because sometimes just an energetic dynamic can trigger us because it's an area where we don't feel secure in ourselves. So I would explore that. I would come up with a conclusive result. I would explain what I was seeing. And then I would help the woman get out of the emotion and use the insight to make and create more power in her situation. Come up with a strategy to help her create more power in the dynamic that she's experiencing once we identify what the problem is. So if the guy is, let's say, being brought in secretly by the CEO as an example, and nobody understands, but she's in a strong position of power, I may recommend, through checking energetically as well, how she can get information about what's going on with him without creating an insecurity inside herself, but actually finding a place of authority. So we would do that through maybe some EFT. We would do that through some transformational change energy work, just to help her release that fear or that nervousness, create the confident energy that she needs to be in. And then if it was asked questions, I would recommend a strategy for the questions. Like, how would she ask? What kind of energy does she have to be in before she asks? You know, what's triggering them to even look at her and hold more secrecy? Does the CEO, for an example, feel like he can't tell her? We would explore all these different avenues. The most important thing is that the client themselves, the woman herself, is willing to go there and empower herself through the intuitive knowledge so that she could actually take charge of the situation instead of lose all her power in it emotionally.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing this because I've experienced that with you, and I really believe that it's the way you work is very powerful in teaching the person, whether man or woman, to really learn more about how to create power within from these 100%. Types of situations where they're feeling on the moment powerless. So I am also wanting to ask you so many more things. So I'm looking at the time going, we need to make the best of this, right? So what would you say you are really well known for? You have many gifts, obviously, but what makes you stand out from other intuitives and psychic medium consultants?
I think it's the accuracy of my outcomes, and the practical advice I'm able to give. So what happens quite often is somebody will come back and see me and say, wow, you were bang on about that. I don't know why I didn't listen to you.
Because they weren't ready.
Yeah, and it's usually about strategy for success. Like I'm trying to get them to a successful position and they're staying small. Yeah. And then they'll come back and go, I don't know why I didn't listen to you. I said, yeah, you wanted to stay in that small place inside because you were scared to rise. It's okay.
You just wanted to
I
play
think
small.
my greatest
gift
is acceleration. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've told me that several times. You were like, yeah, I knew it. And I'm like, okay, fine. All right. You were right.
I want people to have the fast track. I really do, because I believe in it.
Yeah. However, it's not about just using the fast track in a way that is detrimental, right? Because fast track can be interpreted in many ways, right? Yes. So, but it's really giving them advice in a way that is so constructive that they choose a higher way to get to their outcome rather than a lower 100%. Timely way to get to their outcome. So then you've introduced this perfectly. You're talking about accuracy. And so can I put you on the spot and ask you a question? And then maybe we can do another show and we'll check whether the answer is right. Okay. Sure. So Lisa, tell me about, so I'm single and I am so ready to meet the man of my life, or maybe many, I don't know. So who knows, right? I'm open.
Of course you meet many men.
as long as I am vibrating at the same level with that man in terms of consciousness and authenticity. So what do you see in terms of the man who is coming my way? Because I know he's already in my sphere.
You're feeling tuned into that already. So just let me take a second and I'll look through so the way it works for me is I mean, we've been working together a long time. I know I have permission, but normally I ask for permission to actually focus in on someone's life and look at the higher version of what's going on around them or what might be going on within them. So I'm just going to do that. So give me 1 second. So there's a couple of things I get right away. One is you're almost in the birth of it. Okay. So what I'm shown is you have been working on overcoming everything, stepping to your own empowerment, releasing the rest of any fear or doubt or complication inside the center of your heart. And you've been doing that full force. You've been focusing on your business development, which has been critical to be at that place to meet that congruent partner, that person who really will see you and go, yes. And these are very synchronistic steps for you to attract that. What I'm shown is within the next 6 months, he's coming forward and you're going to have a connection with that person. But this work has been critical for you. It's been so important for you to absolutely engage in your personal power in the level you are today, as the woman you are today. It's been, I could see it like, I see this darkness that you've had, like, let's say in the past, completely off you now. It's like all the shadows, all the doubts, any fears, any reason why not, gone. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And from this place, the only piece that's waiting to fully engage in the heart is this absolutely, I'm ready, let's go. So you're there, and then there's a little bit more to actually fully anchor it inside. You're going to attract the person from here, from this center, from your center point, your heart center.
And that's what I want. And so to what I love about what you just shared, which I think is really crucial to share with our audience, is that you cannot attract anyone that you really want to attract in that beautiful vision and picture you have in your heart and in your head if you are not that person yourself to begin with. So whoever you want to attract in your life, you need to be that, right? And that really is so important, because I hear so many women and men who mention, I want to attract this and I want to attract that, and I want to, I want this in that man or that in that woman. And so are you that person to begin with? That matters. That's
it
really,
totally
really
matters. And
right?
it matters if you're a vibrational match. The person can be different, but if you're not able to receive the kind of love that we say we want, which happens often with people, is they're dreaming the big dream, but they're not even capable of receiving a compliment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we have to be in this place of absolutely being ready to receive. I also keep seeing C's. C. There's something C in his name, or something like that.
I
Just
could
to let
tell
you
you
know,
had something else to share. I could tell. See? Okay. And can we make it shorter than 6 months? I'm ready.
You can activate it within 3 or 4.
Okay, let's do it.
You really can. You just it's just a matter of like boom, like getting into that place and being 100% in your yes. There's a little bit more, but it's not much. It's 5%? Actually you're tuning into that more and more and more. Your heart needs to be upgraded.
Oh, really?
The energy in your heart center needs to be upgraded.
Okay. So we're going to work on that, you and I.
I would love to. I would love to. Yeah, because sometimes people don't fully understand that. Your mind may know, and I probably said this to you before, you can think of painting a wall. It's very different than painting the wall.
Yeah.
So you have to know your mind may be ready, but the vibrational systems that live inside you, which attract and propel and push things away and bring things in, the magnetic field that we're in our chakra centers, they sometimes need time to remorph themselves and energize themselves and synchronistically become more whole. And sometimes they need an upgrade, like sometimes our higher consciousness even needs an upgrade. Our minds need an upgrade. That's what mindset mentoring is all about,
So an upgrade would mean what exactly? And we have 2 minutes left, but I really just, if you could say in a very short way, what is an upgrade? It would mean you actually upgrade the energy yourself, or it's work I have to do?
It would be a mix of two. So if I would find that I could do the work and create the energetic upgrade inside, I will. We'll do that from an energetic consciousness creation point of view, which is activating the consciousness of your heart into a higher perspective. Okay. And then sometimes there'll be work to do. We may have to do some visioning. I may have to get you to do stuff on your own, homework wise, let's say, to just like really let's anchor in what it is that you say you want, like mantra building, mindset building, saying yes to that man, that vision of him, calling out to him energetically as well. So there's a variety of things that could come up to have you do.
So for any other person who wants to have access to you and your beautiful, amazing gifts, how can they find you?
My company is called it's called tappingintoit.com. That's my website, and it's easy to access me. You just go on there. You can also email me personally and just say you saw me on the show, Lisa@tappingintoit.com, and let's, get you into that place where you want to go. I mean, I would love to work with anybody who knows you.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And you're going to be also visiting LA in not too long. So maybe, a conversation for any LA people is possible when you are here. If not, it's on your site. So an easy access to your email and everything else. Or if you can't find her, let me know, because I will direct you to her.
Thank you. You're such a blessing.
You are as well. And I'm so grateful to have you in my life. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Such a great time.
I know, right? It was so much fun. I love you.
Love
See you soon. Talk to you soon. Bye.